Yo, it's me, it's the SCOTT. And, well, we already talked about Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So let's talk about Season 2. Now, Season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers actually takes some footage from the Sentai Ranger. However, because kids and people were familiar with these suits, they kept the same suits and just brought in the Rangers Zords, which were the Thunder Zords. Also, a new enemy emerged as Lord Zed, an original creation for the American Power Rangers show, not from Super Sentai, was brought in as a replacement for Rita Repulsa. She was sent in a dumpster, flying across the world. She does come back later in the season, but, you know. So our Rangers are still the same cast. However, partway through Season 2, there is a bit of a cast change. And that's kind of why this season, for me, part of it anyway, like towards the middle, it gets a little bad. I'm not going to say bad, but it kind of gets a little meh for me because it gets obvious that the actors weren't there to portray those characters, and they were just working around it until they got the other actors there. If you don't know, Austin St. John, Di Tran, and Walter Manuel Jones left the show. There's been all sorts of rumors of what it was. The most common rumor is that it was money. They wanted a raise or something like that. Couldn't get it. They left. Their characters were written off in saying that they were going to a peace summit. However, a few episodes before that, we were introduced to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, who are martial artists from Stone Canyon, and they were in a martial arts competition. And this is one of the episodes where it's painfully obvious that the other actors weren't around, because it's mostly surrounding Tommy, Kimberly, and Billy as they meet the other three in a rescue of a baby, and Bulk and Skull try to rescue the baby, which starts to show their good side. Bulk and Skull, of course, have changed from your typical bully to now trying to find out the identities of the Power Rangers. That's their little story arc during this season, which of course they don't ever find their identities, not till the end of In Space, of course. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so yeah, it's called the Ninja Encounter. It's 3 parts, and it's got the 3, Rocky, Adam, Aisha, which were the replacements eventually. But it's painfully obvious here because they only use stock footage and only in-suit performers to portray those characters, because one, something I noticed, especially watching it now, and that's that Walter Emmanuel Jones, starting in Season 2, was sporting a little dreadlock thing on the top of his head. But in these particular episodes, when you see him standing there like this, he's got the flat top back from Season 1, which shows you, they use stock footage because they weren't around, and it's painfully obvious. Weren't around. Even some of the voice work is different because they don't talk, really. They're just there and they fight and stuff, and the other stock footage is used. So it's painfully obvious. However, once you get past that hump, it gets better. Because you got continuation. But one thing to talk about here is the White Ranger. Now, originally, Tommy wasn't going to come back. And they were going to have the guy from VR Troopers, Brad Hawkins. He was going to be the White Ranger. But because Tommy was so popular, he stayed. And that wouldn't be the first time that Brad Hawkins will get rejected from Power Rangers. Let's just say. So Tommy came back to be the White Ranger, and it uses the white Dai Ranger costume from that Sentai, and the white Tiger Zord from that Sentai, but, the other Zords combined and stuff like that. We're also introduced to, that's Season 3, never mind. So, during the White Ranger 2-parter, Rita returns, and Bulk and Skull try to open up the dumpster because they think that it's going to tell them the identity of the Power Rangers. Well, the Rangers interfere and send it back into space, but she comes back and she uses a plan to manipulate Lord Zed into falling in love with her, and she makes herself look younger so they have a different actress come in. The other actress was unavailable or something, I don't know. Maybe it's better for this actress, I don't know. And so now they get married. There's a 3-parters called The Wedding and stuff like that. There are some multi-parters in this. We have The Mutiny, which is a 3-parter. Green No More, which is a good 2-parter. White Light is a 2-parter. The Ninja Encounter is a 3-parter. The Power Transfer is a 2-parter. Rangers Back in Time is a 2-parter. The Wedding is a 3-parter. Return of the Green Ranger is a 3-parter. Storybook Rangers is a 2-parter. And Wild West Rangers is another 2-parter. But again, while there is a little bit of a story arc in this, especially for Bulk and Skull, it's basically one-offs and fighting bad guys and stuff like that for most of the season. The only really big story arc you get is the Stone Canyon kids becoming Power Rangers over the course of that 3-part, and then there's a couple other things that show up, and then there are Rangers in the Power Transfer, stuff like that. You get, the sort of story arc where Rita shows up, she's shown in space, she comes back, and that stuff, standard stuff. Yeah, season 2 for me isn't bad, but it's not as good as the first season when I think about it. Yes, the suits are a little more polished. It looks a little bit better. They do a better job at going between Sentai footage in this season. So it's a little bit better, but it's just that little part where the 3 actors aren't there, and it's painfully obvious, especially now as an adult rewatching it. It kind of gets like, okay, can we get past this part? Sometimes I want to skip it, but it's like, no, so there's information. Especially if you watch it with your kids, you don't want to miss stuff, but it's painfully obvious. Other than that, it's not a bad season. I'm going to give it a C. It's not bad. It's somewhat enjoyable, still cheesy. Martial arts is good to watch. But yeah, all around, not too bad. So what are your thoughts on Season 2 of My Power Rangers? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. May the power protect you.